Hello, hi everyone. Sorry we are a little bit late because of some technical issues. Sorry for any inconvenience. I am Dilan Sarach. I am one of the international talents of Women for Women program. We are with Olivia van den Broek, the project coordinator, communications and events from Holland Expo Center South. As all you know, in this session, we will speak about creating more accessible and inclusive region. And also, yeah, maybe you know, maybe you didn't hear, but we also talk about the We Are Not Alone movement. Olivia is one of the people who touched the life of internationals living in Brabant region with the projects that she plays a role from beginning until the end. We will start with the presentation as usual, and after 20 minutes later, we will have questions and answer session for 10 minutes. So if you like, please write your questions to the chat and answer the poll questions that you can see at the right side of your screen. Olivia, let's know more about you and Holland Expo Center South.
Well, thank you, Dylan, for that great introduction. Yes, I work at the Expat Center, and I myself am an international. I come from the United States and have been here now 14 years. During 10 of those 14 years, almost 10 years, I've worked at the Expat Center. And what's been really nice is that I've been able to see the changes that have occurred in this region in Brabant that has come together to help support the international community here. And I have also seen a lot of great new initiatives and organizations that have come about through via people that themselves are internationals because they saw a need for such organizations. And one of those examples is, of course, the Expat Spouses Initiative. And so it's really nice to be a part of this event today to talk about how we're collaborating together to make it a more inclusive area for everyone here in this area.
Yeah. It's great to welcome you here actually today in this session. I'm glad that you are here. I'm sure that you will share lots of valuable points and insights for us. I would like to start with a question. So, and I want to ask, what kind of actions did Holland Expo Center South take to support diversity and inclusion in the Brabant region?
I think the biggest thing that we've done is that we're working with a lot of different organizations to help support them and to help support initiatives that are here. We're also a place where we want to hear from as many different people as possible so that we can find out how we can support those initiatives. One example of how we are more inclusive is, of course, that when I first started, we were just focusing on the settling in part of the process of moving to the Netherlands for a job. And that was really the first 3-6 months, possibly the first year of living here. And then over time, that expanded. And so we do have now, of course, the Living In program, which the Expat Spouses initiative is very active with. And so that's the next step after settling in. And so it's a living in process because, of course, you may come here for a job, but you don't stay for the job necessarily. You stay because you build a community, you feel settled in. And that's what we want everyone to feel a part of, that they're really part of the community. They're just not here working, but they're actually involved, active, their voices are heard. And that's really how we're trying to best address the wants and the needs of the international community, is by being involved with them and making sure that people know that we are around and that we want to hear from them.
Yeah, as far as I can see, that it's a holistic approach. So people are coming here. The first thing that they do is going to the Holland Expo Center South because of all the formalities and stuff. But it's not the end. Like, you are doing much more after this process as well. So probably you will talk about that in our session. So maybe let's talk about, like, We Are Not Alone campaign, or should I say movement?
Yes.
Like, how did We Are Not Alone campaign or campaign just come to life?
Well, it's actually a great example of this whole working together and listening to the international community, because There were different groups that came together initially that said, back in March when everything first started, and we realized that this coronavirus was going to be affecting everyone, and that included us here, and it was going to be affecting the international community. And how are we going to be able to keep them informed so that once, that they are, abreast of everything going on. And so it was a collaboration between the municipality of Eindhoven, Brainport, TUE, Fontes High Tech Campus. Everyone came together and said, we need to have a place where there's information available. So, some kind of maybe a platform. And our director, Krista Prince, said, that's something that we could have on the Expat Center's website. And I was delighted to hear that, of course. And so I was happy to be part of that Corona Portal about building it up together with Heather and Mira from Brainport. And then, it was just a place to keep people informed, because that's the most important thing. I always want people to know that there's information available for them, and to be able to let them know where they can get that information. And so then we were working together on this platform, and then Expat Spouses Initiative said, well, we have a PEP team. And my colleague, Ed Hershoff, said, what, maybe it's an idea for you to work with the PEP team from ESI on this platform. And that's how I met you, Dylan, and also Kasia. And then we started working together, having these meetings. And you helped a lot in promoting the portal to different people, just to once again inform them this is what's available for you. It is here in case you have questions. And also, if you want to reach out and let us know, and we'll see how we can help you. And then it was very obvious that the community needs to continue to be informed. And all these things came out of the portal. There's all these great groups and organizations out there, tons of Facebook groups. How can we reach all of them? And then great ideas came from our weekly meetings. And we talked about maybe we can start a list of, featuring people that are good for people to know in the international community, ways for them to build their network, or different clubs and groups that they can join. Because once again, this goes together, of course, with the whole being inclusive, is that there's something for everyone here, and we want people to know that. So it doesn't matter if you're, if you have young children, if you're here for a job, if you're from this country or that country, there's something for everyone here. And so we came to the conclusion that, okay, let's have this newsletter that we can send to people once a month and highlight different events coming up, important news. We can inform them about the Corona portal. We can also inform them about different people that might be interesting for them to meet. And Kavitha said, well, we have this We Are Not Alone campaign. And I thought, oh, yeah, I think that's a wonderful, it just really, it hit me when I heard it, We Are Not Alone. And I thought, that's a really nice campaign, Kavitha. And she said, yeah, well, maybe we can work on it together. And, it's something that the Expo Center could also use. And I thought that would be wonderful, because my message to people is always, you're not alone. There's other people here. You're not the only one feeling that, going through difficulties. There's support for you. And so it just really came together. And now we have this newsletter that we send out once a month. And that's just one part of the larger campaign. We want people to also spread the newsletter, to subscribe to the newsletter, to tell other people about it, and also to give us feedback on what we can include in the newsletter. Because in the end, it's a community-wide newsletter. It's not just from the Expat Center, it's working together with the other organizations.
Yeah, I think it's really important, to be able to feel belong to somewhere. You first of all need to know what's going on around you, and you at the same time you need to see some opportunities or some community who knows more than you, who knows better than you, and supporting you. So I think I'm really glad to be part of this project. Actually, it helped me a lot as well. So helping the international people helped me a lot. Because when I first came here as an expat spouse, I was like, okay, where am I? What I'm doing here kind of situation. But after when I start to work in this campaign, work with you guys, and just try to spread the words and these information, also, it helped me a lot. So yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones, actually.
Well, that's good to hear. Because that is the whole point, is also, I think that that's what's so nice about the campaign is working together with the international community. Someone such as yourself who does know how it feels to be new here and build your own network. And that's really what makes it, I think it makes it work,
Yeah,
working together.
definitely. Okay, let's go to the other question that I want to ask to you. How can companies help the process create a more inclusive and diverse region, not only for expats, but also for their families, you know?
Yeah, it's very important I feel, for companies to also reach out to the families. And we understand that not everyone has the time or the capacity to be able to do that from within the company. That's why campaigns such as the We Are Not Alone campaign can really help benefit companies also, because it's something that already exists. We just want companies to help share it. And we want companies to be part of it so that when people come here, it's always really nice to hear. We'll have people back when the office was open for questions before Corona period. We would have people stop by. They were staying in one of the hotels in the city center, and they say, we're thinking about moving here, and we have an interview at a company, and we're just wondering, what do you have to offer? Because we see expat on the outside of the building, and we may be expats. And that was always nice, having those conversations with people. They'd come in and my colleagues would tell them, well, actually, here's a guide. There's information about different groups you can join, clubs, organizations that are here to support you. And, there's a lot of great activities that take place here. And people were really like, oh, wow, that's really, they felt that support even before they moved here. And so that's what we want everyone to feel, is that they feel that, that level of support that's here. And so we want companies to be able to also, we invite them to become part of this movement and to share what we're doing, and to also contact Expat Spouses Initiative and find out how they can get more involved.
Yeah, I think definitely everyone has a role in this movement. Actually, not only companies, not only Holland Expo Center or organizations like ESI, but also the international people. So everyone should kind of spread the word for the others and let them know more about the region and more about what's going on and like what kind of support system that we have here.
Definitely. Because, also when people, firsthand how it is when you first move, you have a lot of things to take care of, to handle. And then it's like there comes a point when then the questions really start. I don't think you ever stop having questions, no matter how long you're living here, but you have different types of questions. And it's really nice to be able to reach out to different people in different groups, different clubs, because they've all gone through it. So, it's really easy to get answers. And what I found is that the international community here really supports each other. And so they want to help people. So it's almost like, they welcome new people, because they're like, oh, I can, also, I want to tell you about this. I want to take you to this event when it's possible in person. I want to tell you about this online event. Maybe this Facebook group would be interesting. Register for this newsletter. So yeah, I agree with you that it's also the international community is very important in helping to spread the word. And that's the best those are the best ambassadors, internationals themselves. It's great.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I asked two polls questions to the people who joined to the conversation today with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to mention about those, and I want to come back to the topic again. So my first question was, so I quote that I feel included in the community as an international, and I asked them if they agree to this, and 22% said that I strongly agree. 22% again said that I agree. 33% is natural, and 22% disagree. Yeah, what do you think about the results?
There's room for improvement then. Yeah, I mean, if I see that maybe a little bit more than 40%, less than 50% feel included, so many feel neutral, then there's definitely room for improvement. And I think that that's also what's so important about working together on these campaigns is, like you said, spreading the word and letting as many people know as possible about what all these resources are that are available for them. But I am happy to hear that there are people that do feel very connected and included. I just want it to be higher.
and I'm one of them, definitely.
Okay.
And the second question was, are you following Holland Expat Center Self newsletter for internationals living in Brabant region? 27% said yes, and 73% said no, which is quite okay, because yeah, this is one of the reasons that we are here today, to spread the word. So as Olivia mentioned, we are publishing a monthly newsletter. Holland Expat Center self-publishing a monthly newsletter. We are all working together in this. And I will share the link with you in the chat, so you can just subscribe and you can be just informed with the what's going on in the region, what kind of networking that you can do with who, and lots of other information to keep you up to date. I have one question coming from one of our attendees. So she asked that, are there more events where people can network in order to find a job? As I am not in the tech industry, has been hard. So yeah, I think it's one of the challenge for the internationals who are not in the tech industry, because Brainport region has a kind of, well known with the technology companies. So I'm also a marketing manager, so I kind of felt that when I came here. I think it's a great question, but also at the same time, because of the Corona situation, during this time there is no any events, but maybe we can, talk about the normal situation.
Yeah, well, we have a job portal on our website, so hollandexpatcenter.com/jobs, and you can check that out for jobs that are actually non-tech. I also encourage you to, I always tell people, participate in the events that are taking place by Expat Spouses Initiative, also International Creative Women. They have a lot of different events that they organize. Everyone's welcome to attend, and they help you also, find out more about the job market here, and you also get to ask questions from people. Most of the events are, of course, taking place online right now, and we do not have any in-person events coming from the Expat Center at this moment. So, but I encourage you to follow the website, the International Creative Women and Expat Spouses Initiative right now.
Thank you. Do we have other questions? I'm asking people, if you have any questions, please just share in the chat. I have questions. I have much more questions today.
Good.
My first question is, in the question and answer session now we are in, how important is the family inclusion for Brabant region? What is the importance?
Oh, it's so important because, like I said, people come here maybe for the job, but they stay because of the experience that they're having. And we're fortunate that we see a lot of people actually choosing to stay here long term. That's why the Living In program is so important. So it's not just that people are coming for 6 months, what's the traditional expat anymore? It's totally changed. So we see people staying here for the longer term. That means people bringing their family members, that means people starting families here. So there's all these different things to consider when bringing a family. Schools, we encourage people to also learn the language if you can, study it. And so it's very important to think about the family members, to also think that it's not, that they're also having difficulties. That's why it's important to support different organizations that focus on families, because they have different wants and needs than people that come here by themselves or do not have children. And like I said, there's something for everyone. So there's all these different organizations that have kind of popped up. I say popped up, but that's somewhat belittling to them, because there's a lot more, there's a lot of energy put behind all of these great organizations and clubs that actually offer a lot of support. And what we see right now is with everything going on with, these are such uncertain times. And right now, everyone's safety is the most important. And we need to always remember, that people left their home country, they left their extended family, maybe they left their entire family behind, and they move here and they're starting from scratch. And I think that that's sometimes it's somewhat easy to forget that happens. I always have in the back of my mind, because I also have part of that experience, of course, and wanting to hop on the plane to go visit my family in the US, but that's just not possible right now. And so thinking about other things that affect family members, there is a lot that a lot of that it's just difficult times, and it's so important to think about the family also, not just the employee, how to support them.
Yeah. It is one of the times that, at the beginning, yeah, it was bad for everyone, but for the internationals, for the expats who are living somewhere else, uh, in this case, in the Brainport region, yeah, at that point, like, we felt the urge, and you did lots of things about that. Um, I think it was kind of a time that it reflects that we should do more and more. And it's maybe much more difficult for international people here because of the situation. It was so, like, for example, right about the information, like there was lots of other information going on in their home countries. People didn't know what to do. There were no any like, all the sources were in Dutch. There were lots of confusion, and also relate about the support as well. Like, people were just so start to feel lonely. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why, like, what you are doing just became more and more important day by day in these severe times.
I think the loneliness is very true, Dylan. And I mean, my heart goes out to people. Honestly, I see people, and it's like, they always say you have to enjoy what you do, and have your heart in it and love it. And that's what I was always raised to do. Find a job that you really are passionate about. And I was fortunate to land upon this job, and I really do have. Yeah, I see how it affects people, and I also see how fortunate we are in the Netherlands, and everyone's dealing with this, with everything going on differently, and especially what happened Sunday in Eindhoven. I mean, I think that most people didn't think that that would ever happen here, and Dutch also. I mean, so it's not just the international community coming out, but I heard from my friends saying, I didn't ever think it would hit so close to home here, and calling, Eindhoven home. And so it was very scary, and you see people like thinking, well, what's going on? And so, especially with the everything going on in the news, it shows how important it is to have a support system. And that's why I always encourage people to, even if they say, I'm not a club person, I don't like to join, it's a great way to meet people. And you just need to have one person that you can turn to in important times like that, and also that you can exchange information with, because like you said, the information was on Dutch, and I found that also on Sunday. There was not so much information available in English, and so we try to also keep people informed via our Facebook page and Twitter, as best as we can. And because I think that once again, it goes back to being informed and getting information. And once you have the information, then you can make the correct choices that are best for you.
Actually, from the beginning till the end, we talked about the inclusion of the internationals. But what do you think about? Yeah, we have a really great support system, but most of the time we are working together with the internationals and doing for internationals. But what about the kind of inclusion with the Dutch community? What do
Mm-hmm.
you think about that?
I think that that's very important, because until people integrate, and that means, coming together with also locals, Dutch citizens, Dutch residents here, that you can't really fully integrate. And so if you only have friends that are internationals, then you're in a bubble in some way, and it's very easy to stay in that way. And so that's also what we're working on via the Expat Center, is to find different ways that we can, our directors also working with different organizations, also within the municipality, how we can connect the internationals with the local community, because we never want it to be like side by side, these are two lanes going. It has to come together. And so that's a very important part. And that's why I also encourage people to learn the language, to study it. It may not be that you're going to be fluent, but just a little bit. And then you can also get to know people in your community in their language, and get to know the culture. And that also, will bring people more together.
Yeah, we are sharing lots of topics related about the culture in the newsletter, and also in Corona Portal, or when we first come to here as an internationals or expats posts. There are lots of going on. There are lots of things going on around the culture as well. So we are kind of the organizations like you kind of trying to make us familiar with the culture, and I think it's also really important, because yeah, it's the easiest for us to, they integrate internationals with the internationals, but much more difficult. What is much more difficult is integrate Dutch community with the international community. And I think it should be kind of vice versa. And also at that point, I think companies are playing a huge role as well.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have any other questions. I can ask you one more question as a last question.
Okay.
So, what kind of reactions that you get from the internationals and their families about the level of diversity and inclusion in the region?
Yeah, I hear very positive things from people. I also have, what's always is nice is when I run into somebody, well, back in the day when I was out more, of course, but I would run into someone and they would say, oh, I remember, hi, and they would, wave and I'm quickly thinking, okay, where did I meet them? How do I try? And then we start talking, and then it becomes very apparent. Oh, yeah, they went to this event, or they came to the Expo Center. We talked to them, and it's nice to hear that they're still here, and say, how are you doing? And you see, smiles on their faces. Oh, yeah, we just bought a house, or like we're moving, or oh, yeah, he got a job, or she got it. So it's nice to see the how they're living here, how they're really living here now, and that's always really nice. And it's also nice to hear from people that come to the Expat Center because they say, okay, you guys are the place that I need to contact. How can you help me? What services do you offer now that I've been here for 4 years or whatever? And I always enjoy connecting them with different people because we don't do everything ourselves. Of course, there's all these great initiatives that are taking place, and that's what's been really nice is to see them starting and see them grow and help support the community for different parts of the international community here. And so it is my pleasure to direct people to, have you heard about this, or have you heard about this person? And it's kind of like the idea behind the newsletter also is we're putting kind of those people in the newsletter now that over the years we've had contact from via the Expat Center, and we want people to know about because they can help them. And so, yeah. And we also do, we get questions about, well, what are you doing about this? And I'll, mention to them, oh yeah, there are plans. We're working on that. My colleagues are working on that. And the things that we're not yet working on, for instance, I take that back to my colleagues and I say, hey, by the way, I heard this, maybe there's something we need to do about this. And that's always, it's good to have the feedback, both positive and negative.
Yeah. It's great that you are working in this way, because it means that you are hearing from the internationals, doing something about it, and hearing back from them. So it's a great circle. Yeah. All right. Do you want to add anything? Last words?
Only that I think that this type of event is so important. It's so nice to see that people are interested in this topic and how to better be inclusive in this region. And there's so many great things going on here. And we really encourage people to become part of the movement, become part of the We Are Not Alone campaign. So, all the internationals and feel part of the community here.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, Olivia. You mentioned about great topics and insights regarding internationals' inclusion and diversity in the region. Thanks to all of our attendees as well. I hope you enjoyed the conversation, and the next session will be the keynote panel with panelists. But I think maybe because we were late, maybe it's already happening. Yeah.